Hey, everybody, this is Dan with Cerberus LiveScan, back with episode 21, eForms 2026 walkthrough. We're going to talk through some of the changes that are coming January 1st, as well as some examples of some utilization that the eForms is going to have. With that, we're going to get into it. So on the screen here, this is the regular eForms as of December 26, 2025. We're actually going to log in. I'll show you just for, they shut off the Form 4s as of last night or midnight or so. So this is what eForms currently looks like, as well as some changes that have happened recently. So if you used to log in here, you used to see on the left-hand side a whole bunch of buttons or folders that would work. Now what you can do to search for your form status, you can simply go into here and then form status, etc., and hit search. Currently today, again, December 26, 2025, this is very slow. Takes about 3 to 5 minutes per search, even if you have the permit and control number. So have some patience when you go through that. But if you'll notice on this version, which is the live production version of eForms, the Form 4 is missing because it's down as they're making changes to what the 2026 changes are going to be. So we're going to switch over to the test site that some of us in the industry have access to. So we're working code on that. This is the test site they have up. I'm actually in through Cerberus LiveScan. I've been working on the updates on this to get here. So you notice the terms and conditions are a little bit different on here, but we're going to log in. The login is very similar. It's going to be the exact same login process. And this is not a sales pitch for LiveScan, but this is the fastest, easiest way for me to navigate this with our tools. And again, this is going to be live as of January 1st, 2026 of what's going on. So if you notice, the screen looks very similar to it. The search boxes and form controls are in here. Again, I can't fully test this yet because I don't have all the old forms loaded over yet. That's what's going on between the 26th and the 1st of January. But this expected to be a similar performance on a relatively slow load. Hopefully they can get it fixed. A couple of things I want to point out here. I'm going to go back to the registration process at the end of this to show you what that has changed, what that looks different. But we're going to click on My Profile. And you'll notice now that there is a personal information button on here. So we're going to click on that. This screen opens up. I've taken some of my data out of it, but some of it is mine. So they are requiring, notice the asterisks on here, requiring sex, height, weight, eye color, hair color, race, ethnicity. Ethnicity here is a drop down, as well as race is a drop down. That comes to play later on in a little bit here. So this is a drop down. On the forms, it's a checkbox. And I'll show you the difference when we come up to that. Social security number is not required. Date of birth is required. A photo is required. Fingerprint cards are not required. Place of birth is required. So this is the expanded data that is now required for all existing profiles. When we go to register an account, or your client is making a new account, or a new user is making an eForms account, the vast majority of this data is required at time of account registration. Going back to home, I'm going to do Form 4. This is where the majority of the changes are happening. The very first screen you're going to see is what type of transferor the seller looks like. Historically, this has been FFL with SOT. That's been the default selection. In 2026, we have additional options effectively for private party sales. Individual, trust, corporation, or now even FFL without SOT. So if I click on the FFL with SOT and next, this is going to look incredibly similar to what it was. So drop down, pick a license, transferee, pick who I'm going to. I'll do individual here, and I'm going to do test. If I go to responsible person and I click on this, a couple things to note that are different. This is now a checkbox with multi-select. Not quite sure how this is going to work because the profile is a simple drop-down, but the RP or responsible person section is asking for multiple selections. Not sure how that's going to shake out or go. The rest of it you fill effectively the same way as we did before. And with Cerberus, quick plug, this is working. It's going to drive us to the client folders, and we try to upload the client folders. CLEO. in Cerberus CLEO button, otherwise fill this in. It's going to fill and populate for us. Firearm, no change. Electronic documents, no change. There was, go back to this. So CLEO, there was conversation of removing that piece from it. That apparently still has stayed in, and confirmation from the ATF that the CLEO notification and CLEO information is still going to be required on all Form 1s and Form 4s. So that is staying in. Firearm, pick from your inventory of the FFL firearm. Electronic documents, no change. Trust or individual. Special cases on individual. Trust, that's where you upload a copy of the signed notarized trust. Verification changes a little bit. So it has all the empty boxes in here. So historically, if a box was empty, it wouldn't show. Now everything kind of shows and a placeholder for it. So it should be helpful reviewing the information with your customer to make sure it's all there, specifically like social security number. If this was empty on the responsible person side, this would be a blank line and it would exempt it and it wouldn't show it. So that's a nice change that's in there now. I'm going to cancel this and go back to the other options here. So Form 4 again. So again, that was the regular, what it was, FFL with SOT transfer. I'm going to go into the individual or private party sale ones. So again, Form 4, I'm going to do individual. Individual and trust are very similar, so I'm just going to go through one of them just to get you a feel for it. So individual, transferor, this is going to pre-populate in from my profile. I want to highlight this. If the data in the profile, the client photo or the seller's profile individually does not match what is on the Form 4 because they have moved, a 5320.23 will have to get filed to update the location and address of that firearm before it can get pulled in. So reread this piece a couple times as you're going through it. If the client, the seller has moved and their eForms profile does not match the Form 4 of 5320.20, 5320.20 has to be submitted to update the address of that firearm to match the current profile. So the transferee or the recipient or the buyer has got, as again, similar things as before. But what we have different here now is firearm. So there's this find control number, and it's going to be a search screen on here to plug this in. One thing we found in the debugging is the length, the barrel length does not accept a period for a decimal length. Not sure how they're going to handle that, and I have yet to have a firearm be able to look up successfully in our test environment. I'm not sure if that's not because it's the test environment and not all of the registry is loaded, or if there's bugs in the code, how it works. But right now, I cannot get a firearm to load on the private party sales. Again, that'd be an individual or a trust to somebody else. The FFL SOT one appears to be working fine, pulling from the registry. But we put in firearm data here and work through the drop downs. Again, currently length of barrel is not working correctly. It will not accept a decimal point, and we do find. And I believe how it should work is I'd pick that control number and I'd add it to the firearm to the list. But this will allow effectively private party sales of NFA items that's currently on a Form 4 or on a form. Electronic documents and verify, I assume will be very similar, and that's what it's going to look like. Again, going back to the Form 4, these are the options. FFL with SOT, the seller, individual, seller as a trust, the seller as a corporation, or this new one, FFL without SOT. Old eForms or current eForms up till yesterday was basically just this FFL with SOT. These 4 categories are added and supposed to be live January 1st. And I'm sure there's going to be some nuances with it. Form 1s look very similar to the existing or the current version. So Form 1s, if I click on this, it pops up an affirmation that it's a legitimate Form 1. and then similar setup as before, individual, trust, corporation, etc. And it will walk through it. Some of the data is pre-populated from the profile. If I do individual here, it's going to pull in from my profile the application control number here, and then applicant is going to be my data individually as I pull through. So, and then from there, similar process as the previous Form 1. I didn't really see a whole lot of changes, minus a couple formatting pieces from my automation standpoint for LiveScan. So this should be very similar if clients that are doing it and or if you're offering as a service assisting with it. Again, it's going to be their account and it's going to be they're the ones who actually submitted, but the data and formatting pieces are all there. So I'm going to cancel this one as well. Log out. The site is not exactly quick. I'm hoping that's because it's on a beta and not a full-blown production server. So I've logged out of eForms back to the main page. I want to show you real quick before we sign off here the new eForms account registration. So what this looks like, previously, if you're familiar with it, it was effectively just this top section of name, address, and email. Okay. Now it is much more information that needs to be filled out. So email, address, title, hair color, eye color, height, weight, sex, race, ethnicity, photograph, date of birth, country of birth, etc., etc. So it's much more cumbersome to fill out the registration process. Good news is Cerberus has been updated. So we can pull the data that we pull from the account registration and the data piece, and we're going to fill all this out just like that. So anyway, much more cumbersome, much more complicated, and a lot more data intense. I hope this does not complicate the verification process or certification process, but I'm sure it probably will. So with that, that's a walkthrough at eForms 2026. Some of the changes, some of the requirements, some of the updates. If you like what you see here, we're going to get back into the podcast piece for some information. Like and share, tell your friends about it. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to find out more about Cerberus LiveScan and Peterson Farms, petersonfarmsusa.com. We have two main products out. Our LiveScan fingerprinting solution that does a turnkey NFA and EFT solution. We also have Merlin, which is a distribution search tool for all of industry. All these warehouses and distributors are reporting, and we can pull those in based on your credentials and status. And then we recently launched LiveScan LE, currently in Arkansas. It is intended for digital submissions to Arkansas State Patrol. We are Harvester compliant and able to support with all those pieces. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback. If there's anything you want to see specifically on future podcasts, please let us know and reach out. Again, Dan Peterson, Cerberus LiveScan. Thank you.